Well, hello everyone. Welcome. It seems like it's been a while. And it probably has been a while. It's been since late last week since our last stream. And, well, kind of missing y'all and thought we'd get up here and going as the schedule says and do a little clipper flying today. Not flipper flying, clipper flying. And what else is best to fly in the clipper mode but Pan Am? So, hope y'all enjoy. We are going from London, England, down to Nice, France, and I hope I said that right. Um, I was going to say Nice, France, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it's pronounced. But I could be wrong. But anyway, we are sitting on the line here with the Felis 747-200 or 747, yeah, dash 200 old school. And for those of you on the Discord channel, you got a taste of. I've got a lot of training to do back on it, get back fluent with it. It's been a good 2 years since I've flown the Sparks 747-400. So give me some time to get my feet wet again with it. Then we'll get it up in the air and give it a good, proper review, first flight, shakedown cruise, and all that good stuff. Not today, though. Today is we're going classic, folks. 747. If we're going to fly Pan Am, you're going to fly classic. So that's just the way it was. Unfortunately, Pan Am did not make it out of the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been the 80s, but I'm pretty sure it was the 90s when they finally succumbed. TWA not far behind them. Why do I bring up TWA? Fierce rivals, competitors. Bringing it up with the CEO of Pan Am Virtual a couple days ago, saying, would have been interesting if the two could have buried the hatchet, not in each other, but just buried the hatchet between each other, forgave each other, came together, merged, and became, and either one. I don't see. There's where the fighting would start. Well, what name do we go by? But no, seriously, had the two come together, because what the problem with Pan Am was, they had no domestic routes. What the problem with TWA is, they were just bleeding. They had just bought Ozark, and they were beginning to go through the bankruptcy woes that would eventually land them bankrupt and American taking them over. So if the two would have came together with each of their little niches, Pan Am International, TWA Domestic, who knows what we would see today. So, would have definitely been an interesting airline landscape instead of 3 or 4 different iterations of both. So, anyway, enough of the intro. Let's get up into the cockpit here and get flying. Today's flight will be on POSCON. I know y'all haven't heard that in probably the 2 years since I've flown Sparks now. It when we went to X-Plane 12, I could not get POSCON to work. Compliments, thank you again. Bad attitude seems to come save the day way too many times, and I want to say again, thank you, sir, for saving us again. You brought us over to POSCON again, and loving it. I actually got the flight plan to work today if you're out there lurking about, and we're going to head down there. Also, real quick, this is default Heathrow. So let's see if I can't go here. Give you just a little flavor of how X-Plane 12 looks default. I have not put any ortho in, I don't even know if there is, I'm sure there is a Heathrow scenery. Oh, look, it is. It's true to form. It's raining in London. Um, sorry, folks, that's what I always hear. And yeah, that looks like London. At least the London I know. Over here, I know a lot of changes with British Airways. And Billy, do you? Uh, I am not doing well with this. Billy, do 33. Hello to you, sir. Welcome in. Uh, Man, I got one day learn pronunciation a lot better. You'd think I would after 50, almost 59 years around here. So, but yeah, this is the default Heathrow scenery. So I think it looks good. I don't think I'll look for a new one. Yeah, looks really good. Hey, welcome for the follow, Billadu33. Thank you, sir. Appreciate, sir, or ma'am, I should say. Welcome aboard Flying with Mike. Look forward to seeing you on future flights. And thank you so much for the follow. All right, so let's get in here, do a quick, well, let's bring SimBrief up. Let's do it properly or we're going to get ourselves all discombobulated. And we did it again. And you know, you move it up. I could move it to 10 pages away and I would still find my mouse hitting it. You're French. Ah, well, we're headed down to Nice, I hope is how it's pronounced, down there on the coast. All right, so we have some toolkit up. Quick, let me see. Do we have weather now? We don't. I don't know why we're not getting weather here. Interesting. It's showing up. Uh, oh well, we'll work with it. All right. So looking at the map here, the green you see, folks, is VATSIM. POSCON used to come up on here, and I can't figure out how I got rid of it, or if they got rid of it. So, because I want to get it back. So that's what I, do for doing that. Oh well. All right. Well, let's look at the loadout today. Today's flight, folks, well, it's a little different than we see here, but the key numbers to pay attention to uh, is the zero fuel weight, which is what we're going to be very close to. We're within 40 pounds of it. 467,209 pounds. We're going to load 60, I think we already have, by the way, got to 63,149 on board. And so that's bringing our ramp weight up to around 530,000 pounds. Now, the call sheet said 366 people flying down to Nice on this plane, which, by the way, Pan Am did not fly this route. This was one Pan Am Virtual had in there, set up for most of the fleet aircraft to fly. So thank you for who set that up. All right, so the route you see up there, we're not going to go through it. It's Europe. It takes 10 pages to get through. Y'all can read through it. It also just filtered through the chat again. We'll do Mach 0.85 on the speedometer, and the altimeter will be 39,000, or I'm sorry, altitude 39,000 feet. Not sure why we're not getting weather today. That is weird. We have it, we just aren't getting it in Sim Toolkit. By the way, folks, this is a free utility. I highly recommend. Great utilities over here for those of you trying to improve your skills, as I have been for better than 20 odd years in the sim world. So, all right, and there you go here. One last thing we can do while we're here. Let me see that. I'm gonna bring in SimBrief. I've added this to Sim Toolkit. You can add a lot of interesting things like you see down here with this little sprocket gear looking thing here. Just click on it and add them, add what you want. Basically personalize it. All right, so here's a better look at our flight. So again, we're Pan Am 24, otherwise known as Clipper. That's what Pan Am went by. Going from Heathrow to Nice, and I believe Marcel's is, if I'm not mistaken, Marcel. Okay, I was close. I mean, I was pretty sure that's what ML stood for. So, got about an hour and a half into flight time. Here's our specifics again. Got a wind out of the northeast. I'm gonna improv there at 27. So we're gonna get a little bump in speed. Here's our weights and fuels, and then our route. So I love bringing this up because when you come down a little further, let's see if we can pull up the weather. Aha. All right. So currently, as of 1550, got to remember where they put the clock here. There it is. About an hour and a half old. We'll call it 2:30 at 9. Got a little bit of a variance to it, about 60 degrees, varying from 200 to 260. Unlimited visibility, no NCD, so no sky condition. I can tell you, it's raining. No, just kidding. 9 degrees outside Celsius and 1 degree on the dew point. So, there's where they're getting the rain from in the TAF. Okay. We don't have to argue the point this time. At least it's showing up somewhere in the strip. Hopefully that gets really addressed. Because I really get tired of clear skies and it's raining. I just don't get it. And the dew points aren't even close enough to make dew. So, and then down in, oh, look what we have ahead of us, folks. I did hit the arrival. Yes, I did. How do you get VFR with that? Really? Did I click the right one? All right, folks. Well, this is not VFR weather. Oh, yes, it is. Disregard. Misread the zeros. Disregard. The guy behind the wheel. He's a loose nut. Don't worry about him. Winds are 290 at 3. Unlimited visibility and light rain. Overcast. I was reading 600, folks. Sorry, it was 6,000. That's how we're getting the VFR. And 12 degrees Celsius down there. So we're going to warm our tail feathers up as we head the few 500 miles or so south. So ought to be a fun run, folks. Looks good. We do have IVO giving us an idea of runway usage down there. I really wish I could get the real world because I always like to see what they're reporting friction-wise. So, but anyway, there you have it, folks, the briefing here. Let me slide that away and we'll get rid of Sim Toolkit and finish this flight up. All right, we're on the EFB for this Classic. Now, before you say it, yes, the Classic did not have EFBs, nor FMCs until the latter part of their lifetime. Many of the airlines did, well, freight airlines added them. All right, so I got to go through this. It's going to take a couple minutes here, folks. For those of you thinking about this, aircraft, when you get to the point you're ready to load it, couple of key things to note. Nothing major, no deal breakers here, folks. Actually, I like what they've done there at Felis. Okay, first thing you got to do, you come to your load calculator. All right. It is exactly what it sounds like. Load calculator. It is not a loader. So you're coming in here and you're calculating, you're putting in your passenger load and calculating the fuel you need. Now, SimBrief gives you a good number. Don't get me wrong. Go with what the plane tells you. Because you may be off slightly on weights and this and that. This will get you mostly there with plenty of fuel. All right, so we said we're going to have 367 souls on board. Actually, the actual total that will be loaded is 382. Destination is LFMN, Nice, France. So, for you there, Billadu. All right, so we are going to actually, instead of putting 360 people on board, we're putting 280. Most of these air carriers, when they came into deregulation way back in the 80s when I was coming out of high school, the way they made their money, because they're no longer getting those nice big fat checks from the U.S., the U.S. carriers, they made it in cargo. So they would load up more. Whatever was in the cargo, I've been told, paid for the flight, and then the people were pure profit. Um, I don't know the veracity to that. I don't know if it's true or not, but it makes sense being an old truck driver myself. So there's a lot of money in freight, folks. So I could see that as a possibility, but it sure helps on the bottom line. That's right, there's no doubt. So what we did, we kind of rolled it back to 280, and then I bumped up approximately uh, 20,000 pounds of cargo. More than likely, they would have taken more, especially short haul. Um, but if they're in their normal transatlantic, transpacific mode, there would be a lot of cargo under the plane. So that's what we've done here. So we have 280 people on board. Let me show you the load sheet. Okay, so we have the 280 people plus our crew of 14. We have in the compartments, I was close, 18,900, which then takes us up very close. I told you it was within 40 pounds of our um, within 40 pounds of our zero fuel weight. So, all right, so there you go. So that's how you do. Now that gets you the uh, the payload portion. The other half of the screen's fuel calculator, which you can see takes in everything you need to know. Your nautical miles, your altitude, your tailwind. That's an interesting one. Remember, it's saying tailwind. So if you actually have a tailwind, you're going to see the number decrease. Whoop, I'm in the wrong one. Sorry. The number should decrease. See how it's decreasing? Your total fuel. If you're getting a headwind, it's a negative here, and you're adding fuel. I'm keeping it stable so that we're pretty close. Gives me a little extra fuel. Plus, I bumped us up to a continuance or a um, yeah uh, of 10% and contingency. That was the word I'm looking for. Sorry. And taxiing with 20 minutes of fuel. So that is going to leave us, folks, with 68,547. So we're slightly heavier than SimBrief, and less people, more cargo added up to about the same. Wanted to show this just so you understood what we did here. We're not running with the full 280 or 366 as it said. Okay, so now once you've calculated it, it's time to load it. Wouldn't we all say duh? So let's push the home button. You use refuel and payload. Now I've already fueled the plane. So we're up to 68,000 and some change. I've been running the EPU while we've been yakking here. And you come over to payload to load your peeps. Got a couple of choices here. You can load it real world, or you can just instantly where they just boom, which crews around the world would say, oh, I wish they would do that. Oh, do I wish they would? Because they just trickle in. You know, the airplane will wait for us. It will never leave without me. It's me coming. It can't leave without me on board. At least that's what I see in the airport where I work. So they really do think that. I'm just like, wow. Boy, you're going to be sorry one day when that door is closed and it doesn't reopen. But the plane's still sitting there. You should have been here 2 hours early, like we tell you. What can I tell you? Oh, it's funny to watch in the air. It is funny to watch in the airports, folks. So let's instantly board. So we just loaded 280 passengers, 18,900 pounds of cargo, and we decided to let our crew members come aboard. Figured you didn't want auto taking off and landing. All right, so planes loaded, fueled, ready to go. almost. Okay. Here's the cockpit, by the way. Welcome to a classic. 1970s, folks, when this Queen of the Sky took her place. And boy, was she the Queen of the Skies. Time when the Concorde roared across the, time in essence, portraying a little time travel. You board in Paris, get off in New York City before you boarded, if you looked at your timepiece, even though 3 hours had elapsed. Problem with the Concorde was, yes, fast, but expensive for those of us in the States who had to pay full fare. So, a technological amazing wonder that flopped because $6,000 round trip tickets, not a lot of people can afford. So this bird comes along, throwing 400 to 500 people behind it at a couple $100 a pop round trip. Guess what? Queen of the Sky was established. Lot cheaper. Of course, you're back to the normal, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours across, depending where you're going from. But that's where the problem came in for Concorde. They could move a lot of people a lot cheaper over where the Concorde was limited to 100 or so amount of people, but they had to charge so much money for all that money it took to get it into the 50s and 60s to do what it did speed-wise. So, you know, to each their own. Concorde, like I said, what a success in technology. Wow, for its time. Just wish they could have found a way to make it cheaper. All right, but the classics, including Concorde, had 3 people up front: captain, co-pilot, or first officer, however you want to call him, and the guy that did all the hard legwork, that being the flight engineer. Folks, if you had a good flight, he did his job properly. If you had a unsavourably flight, Heckle and Jekyll in the front seats were the ones causing it. No, just kidding. We're not calling them pretty boys today. We'll just call them Heckle and Jekyll. No, they had a lot of work too. They were the ones making sure the plane stayed on course. Keeping those INSs later years, making sure the FMSs were right, all of that stuff. But for your comfort, the flight engineer took care of the fuel, the hydraulics, more importantly, the pressurization and the air temperatures. Watch the engines, a whole litany of things he did, folks. So together, they made the flight great. Singularly, I really feel sorry for y'all. All right, so I just wanted to let y'all know it was a 3-man crew. Both Concorde and the 747s had to have them. That's just the way it was. Then the 400 came along and they kicked off the flight engineer. So you couldn't praise him anymore, even though you never saw him usually. So, all right, so let's get in here and finish up our checks and let's get ready to push this thing back. All right, so we're loaded. Let me get my ACARS program running and we'll get ourselves ready to push back. I think if Hawker is in the house, he would say, "My gosh, we're ready to go already." Hey, there's my flight. Right, and go. I said go. There we go. All right, let's do it, folks. Let's run. Oh, and one of the other neat things with this plane, you have an EFB here, one next to the first officer, and one right here with the flight engineer. So it doesn't matter where you're at, you can always get to it. So when you're ready to start the checklists, yes, he said this thing comes with checklists. They are done as purported by Felis, by real world um, 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 747 crews, from captain, co-pilot, first officer, to even the flight attendants in the back. Okay, I'll buy. So just waiting for us to get out of this 20 seconds here, get our commercials ended, and we'll get going here. So hope y'all are having a good week on this Tuesday. Hope y'all had a fantastic weekend. Looking forward to the next. And we're going to get this little firecracker lit up here and get going here. All right, so let's get the checklists running, shall we? Hang on. I forgot to do something, folks. That's why you couldn't hear it, nor could I.
Levers. Off. Radios. On and check.
All right, let's go again. There we go.
Before start checklist, please. Gear lever and lights. Down and check. Brakes. Parked. Start levers. Off. Radios. On and check. Flight control hydraulic power. On. INS. Hold on.
Oh, I forgot to move them. Okay, you have INS. I know you're going, we got FMCs. Well, they still technically have the INS. There we're in line, so let's go to nav.
Check and nav. Compasses. Slaved. Window heat. On. Seatbelts and no smoking. On. Emergency lights. Armed. Exterior lights.
We're going to get gigged.
Hold on.
The beacon, what they're looking for in this is that we are ready to actually push it back. So we're going to do this, folks. We're going to check it.
Flight instruments. Check. Altimeters and clocks. 1019. Set and cross check. Radio INS switches. Radio. Radar and transponder. Standby. Indicator lights. Check. Engine and wing anti-ice. Off. Stall warning. Check. Mach airspeed warning. Check. Auto brakes. Check and off. Body gear steering. Arm. Anti-skid. On. Autopilot and flight director. Check and off. Takeoff warning. Check. Auto flight annunciators. Check. GPWS. Check. Instrument warning. Check. Flight director computer selectors. Check. Instrument source selectors. Normal. Reserve brake valve. Closed. Spoilers. Down. Static selectors. Normal. Oxygen mask and regulator. Check and emergency off. Brake pressure. Check. Stabilizer trim. Check and on. Rudder and aileron trim. Check. Checklist completed.
All right, that's the first of the two really big ones here. That's the initials before starts. Now let's do the flight engineer. Again, we're going to come across a couple of EPR set to go around. It's actually set to what's called TOD. Folks, that's not top of descent. That's takeoff dry. They had a wet and a dry. Wet, they pumped water into the exhaust to give them more thrust. I kind of understand it, but it's just one of those you go, what? Water puts fire out. But anyway, it did work. I mean, that's how many of the alert bombers get into the air back in the day, the old jet engine styles. But anyway, we're not doing go around. There'll be another one we'll be skipping over, and I just can't. Oh, I don't remember. Well, I think it's fuel panel. and it's because we're not with the pumps on yet. So, all right, here we go.
Battery on. APU panel. Check. Auxiliary power. Check. Engine oil quantity. Check. Fuel quantity. 6,803.9 pounds. Fuel panel. This.
Go ahead and turn them on.
Check and set. Pressurization controls. Check and set. Bleed controls. This. Check and set. Hydraulic quantity. Check. EPR computer. This.
Okay, we're going to check. Here, I'll show it to you real quick. What the EPR is, that is analogous to takeoff 1, takeoff 2, and you set temperatures or flex or this or that. It's analogous very loosely to that. But you can, set it to derate your engine so you're not putting 100% at it. I don't know how to do that yet, so that's why we will run pretty close to 100. But again, we're going to keep it. It's right here, and we're keeping the lever. They want it here. GA, we're staying with TOD.
Circuit breakers. Check. Indicator lights. Check. Electrical panel. Check and set. Air conditioning controls. Check and set. Fire control and wing overheat panels. Check and set. Equipment cooling. Check. Passenger oxygen. Check. Hydraulic panel. Check and set. Fuel jettison panel. Check. Crew oxygen. On. Oxygen mask and regulator. Check and emergency off. ADPs off. Checklist completed.
All right, so if I click next here, it's going to say after start. So we're ready to fire up. Okay, let's come back over here, hit the home button, make sure everything's buttoned up. And just so you know, the runway behind us is 27 right. That is our departure runway. Sure, some of you are going to say, well, at this hour of the day, you would actually use, well, we're using 27 right. I am pilot in command. All right, so we got those taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and peel off the jet tube. And you can see our frame rates. If we were in VATSIM, folks, we wouldn't be in VATSIM. It would kick us off. That is one complaint I do have, and that could very well be just my rig, the way things are set up. I'm trying to keep it set up to where it shows a lot, and I think that's what's killing us a little bit. POSCON might be too. The good thing is I don't get warnings saying we're going to boot you off. So, all right, so real quick check over here. Okay, we are on the APU, so I can kill the generator.
Cockpit to ground. Disconnect ground power. Ground power disconnected.
And that's one thing I do like, the interaction of the crew, ground crew and the cockpit and everything. All right, so let's see here. Another utility, better pushback, highly recommended.
Ground to cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
I want to go home.
is driving up.
All right. Now that little bit you saw me doing with better pushback to make this pushback a little more realistic, especially the pull-up, you want to make sure those wheels under the wings actually pivot. So you want to make sure they're straight when they park you. So that way you're not damaging them in any way. I just saw him, so we're getting rid of them.
Cockpit to ground. Remove the chocks.
Always make sure your parking brake's on. I'd already done 3 checks. It was on. Not to say it, the 4th one, I could have bumped it.
Chocks removed.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Cleared to connect, face east. And we're going to talk a little bit about Pan Am Virtual here once we get into the air. Just way too much. You're going to find out. Just way too much going on while we're on the ground. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and start setting radios up. What are we doing then? MAXIT. I guess I ought to do a departure brief here once he says.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
When you're ready. Bear with me, I'm sizing the window. Alright, so let's bring in charts. Another great program out there, folks. These are things I think you all should have, especially if you fly what they say abroad, meaning Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, US. You're going to get all the charts, folks. It's a little bit more if you're one of those that likes to keep your FMCs up to date with the latest and greatest VORs, NDBs, fixes, stars, SIDs. This is the charts for that. And you're seeing this one right here, the MAXIT 1F. All right, so London control, if they would come up on POSCON, could be that channel. It's 83 feet above the sea level, 6,000 for the transition level or altitude. The level varies depending on barometric pressures, I believe is how that thing works. Drives me crazy, but it's the way you fly in Europe. So, and then when instructed, contact London Control after takeoff, report SID designator, altitude, initial, la la la. Not a lot of that we're going to be doing. Okay, so here it is. We're going to come off runway 27 left at a radial 255 off of London VOR, which is 113.6, which guess what? Oh, wait. Oh, forgot I'm not in the 737. I'm in the 747. There it is right there. So if I set my course to 255 on takeoff, I'm not very good at this part because things happen so quick with this plane, folks. I know some of you make it look like, oh, you just do it this way and then this way. For me, it's like, oh my God, we're here. I can't get ahead of the plane enough to make it look like that. So we try our best though. But we'll end up on the FMC navigation quick enough. But anyway, so the goal is we'll take off, intercept the 255 radial out to London 5 DME. Make our turn to intercept the NDB. Yeah, they still use these things, US folks. big time. 421, get on that radial, headed down to 12, and then on to MAXIT. So straight ahead, intercept 255 to the 5 DME, hang a left, 161 bearing, off the BUR NDB, cross 7.7 at or above 3. Maximum 6,000, folks. And then you can read the rest. Intercept the Midhurst 11 and cross to MAXIT at 6,000, where we can then resume climbing. Now in this plane, that means you got to be ready, because when you hit 6,000, if you're not on your auto throttle already, folks, in IAS, it's just going to continue to build speed up, way up. So be very careful, because while we don't have speed restrictions here, some of these departures, US and Europe, have speed restrictions, so be careful. So there's when then we'll join the outbound radial. Looks like the Y803. I'd have to get my flight plan up. Out into Midhurst, and then we turn and head out to Magna and so forth. Okay, so that's our departure. Real quick, before we go any further, I'm going to take us here, and we're going to do a quick performance calculation at flaps 10, flaps 20. But first, charts. Our runway is 12,000. We're going to call it 13, as you'll... Oh, no, we can do. I'm sorry. Call it 12,800 feet. Elevation 83 feet. So we'll do that. 270. Runway we'll call damp. I forgot what our temperature was. 8 degrees. Barometric pressure 300. Winds 240. And we're going to go out of here at 9. All right, with this in place, now also click load sheet. Reason being, you need these numbers for it to figure this up. Yes, we're not going to eat up a lot of runway, folks. We need 2,000 feet of runway. Probably should be eating up a heck of a lot more. We'll let it be. So we'll need stab trim to be set at 3, initial pitch 18 degrees, below 10,000 feet 297. Now I can already hear some of you out there going, no, you can do that with special permission. Don't have it, so we're going to do 250 below 10,000. If I got to keep a layer of flaps out, I do. And then bring them up when I'm ready to get up to altitude. Okay, so V1, 115, 128, 146 for our speeds. Let's set the bugs. Ready to go. Bear with me, I'm going to reset my chart program. Okay. Oh, that seems kind of little. All right. For now, let's pull that back, and I'm going to put one thing in here. There you go. All right, so here we go. As we go to break, we're going to start our pushback in startup. Okay, here we go. Beacons on.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. On behalf of the entire crew, welcome aboard the Boeing 747 Classic. We will depart shortly after we have our clearance and the cabin crew is finished with their preparations. For now, I wish you a pleasant flight, and I will be back during the flight with further flight information. Cabin crew, arm slides.
All doors are closed and armed.
All right, let's push back. London traffic, Clipper 24 heavy, pushing back. Stand 208.
Parking brake released.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Actually, think that's not 208. All right, to start engines here, folks. Welcome back from the break. First, turn
Ready
your
to
start
the
valve on.
engines. Ready for engine start.
Okay. I start the engines number 3, then number 4, then I do 1 and 2 together. Okay, try to speed this thing up. And I'm today going to use system 1, but you can alternate between system 1 and system 2 for your starts. Down arrow.
Starting engine 3.
Start valve open.
Now let go. Once you hear that, you can let go. Now, over here, you can see your N1 building right here. He'll tell you when N1 is 20%, and that's when you'll introduce fuel. Just about there.
20% and 2.
Introduce fuel, move your fuel
on.
lever up.
Light up.
Okay, and then just get it all the way up, let it click in, and you're good to go. You can watch it spooling
Starter off.
right here. When it stabilizes, you want to hear that, folks. If you don't, you fired it up in X-Plane 11. Show you a quick way to get around that. And that's about the right amount of time an engine should take to start up.
Engine stabilized.
That's what you want to hear. If you don't, let me get them all fired up and then I'll show you.
Starting engine 4. Starter valve open.
Okay. Again, your N1 is here, your oil here, and different values going down.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Okay.
Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Here comes 20%.
20% and 2. Fuel on. Light up.
Engine 4 is
Starter
ready.
off.
Cell is disconnected and bypass pin
Engine
has been
stabilized.
removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Thanks for flying with Mike. There, better push back. And again, that's a really good utility, folks. Free. All you got to do is put it in your plugins and resources. So, there he is with my pen. All right, let's get up here and start to it one time.
Starting engine 1.
Starter valve open.
Starting engine 2.
Starter valve open.
Thought I was kidding. You can actually, in the lower pressure altitudes, now I'm going to try this again in Bogota one day. You should be able to fire both engines up, but when you're at higher altitudes, you need more air. The air is getting a little thinner. So we had troubles getting it fired up.
20% and 2.
Fuel on. Lights up.
20% and 2.
Fuel on. Lights up.
Starter off.
Okay, that's engine 1 starter off.
Starter off.
Engine 2 starter off. And again, we got to hear it twice, stabilized.
Engine stabilized.
There's engine 1.
Engine stabilized.
There we go. All right, real quick, let's just see what we need to do. So we need to make sure the flight recorder is on. They'll do that. Start switches off. Beacon light we already know is on. Brake pressure we make sure is up. Start levers idle. And anti-ice as required. Electrical panel, pack valves, door warnings, and hydraulic panel. All right, so before we even start into it, let's get this on the engines now on the electric bus. Okay, close this. Packs are now coming back on. Okay, everything looks good up here. Hydraulics. That'll be the next one. And yes, we are recording. The blue light is on. Okay, so let's read through them again. Beacon lights, okay, we'll look. They were already on. Everything's good. Okay, let's do it. And
After start checklist.
Flight recorder.
this helps out
On.
you new
Start
folks
switches.
to the aircraft. You can
Off.
make sure you got
Beacon
everything.
lights.
This is the
On.
bare minimums.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Start levers.
Idle detent.
Engine and the ice.
Off.
Electrical panel. Check. Pack valves. Open. Dual warning lights. Out. Hydraulic panel. Check. Flight recorder. On. After start checklist completed.
Flaps 10.
Okay, takeoff data, stabilizer trim. We know 3. So let's get that set. Now there's 2 critical components here. Okay, first we want our trim and it's about 3, but we need it in that green band, so move the switch up. Probe heat, and then we'll do flight control. So probe heat's coming on. Let's go ahead and get some anti-ice on the engines. What did we say temps were? 2 degrees. 8 degrees. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Okay, so let me head down here. Oh, flight controls. That's what we wanted to do. All right, now you can hide them or have them. I prefer to hide them because you can see my HSI is gone. However, with the help of this gauge, which I wish the FlyJ Sim had in the 727, would be nice. But we do a quick, check our ailerons, elevator, rudders. And again, we're at flaps 10. Let's confirm, and then I do them all. Okay. Then I just hide it, because I only need it to tap off the autopilot on landing. Fuel heat off, totalizer, engineer, F cargo heat. Let's do it.
Taxi checklist, please.
Flaps. Flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
Takeoff data, EPR and airspeed bugs.
Set and cross-check.
Stabilizer trim.
Set in green band.
Probe heat.
On.
Flight controls.
Check.
Yaw dampers.
Check.
Seatbelt and shoulder harness.
Check.
APU. This.
Well, while they're doing that, we're going to get to taxiing.
Parking brake released.
Now, at night, you may want to kick the inboards on just so you can see more.
Cabin ready.
And
Off. Fuel heat. Off. Totalizer and gross weight. Set. Flight engineer and pilot panels. Check. Aft cargo heat. Normal. Seatbelt and shoulder harness. Check. Taxi checklist completed.
all right, we have just a short taxi down here to 27, right? Heathrow traffic, Clipper 24 heavy, taxi to 27, right? There's a lot to this plane, folks, and getting out in an hour is really good. If you have the INS, add another 45 minutes. Because unless you do quick aligns and this and that, if you do it realistically, you're looking at a good hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. All right, let's get in here and take a look at our next checklist before takeoff. Icing considerations, cabin alert. Let's go ahead and get them alerted for takeoff.
Cabin crew, take your seats.
Transponder. Radar on. Pack valves will close, fuel boost pumps are on, cross feeds are set for flight, and we're ready to go. We'll do the checks as we get up here. There's one that needs a little explanation, and that's going to be the one that says your body gear steering. Now the body gear steering, we're going to kind of get a little exaggerated here, but I want you to look right here. Watch the landing gear, okay? See how they're kicking? That's two reasons. One, to help it in turns. Two, to help with wear and tear on those very expensive tires. There's 18 of them, folks. So quite a bit of money just there, let alone those massive $1 million engines. Millions. Let's put a plural on it. Lots of money, folks. Heathrow traffic, flipper 24 departing, 27 right. Okay, here we go.
Before takeoff checklist.
Icing considerations.
Check.
Cabin alert.
Check.
Transponder.
Check.
Ignition.
We'll get that in just a second here. We'll get lined up, ready to go. We're going to use 2,000 feet, but I'll just do it from here because it is only like, going to be shocked how fast we're in the air. Okay, well, it is what it is. All right, so we're on the runway. First thing we'll do is body gear. Then we're going to do ignitions. Now, something will help you. Now, you can go through and move each one of these up to flight start. Or, right here's a click spot.
Body gear steering.
Disarm.
Pack valves.
Got to close them, need
Let's
the
see.
pressure.
Closed. Pressurization mode selector. Auto. Fuel boost pumps. On. Cross feed valves. Check. Before takeoff checklist completed.
Okay, next one is after takeoff, so we're ready to go.
Stabilized. Thrust set.
80 knots. positive rate. Gear up. Gears up. Flaps 5. Thousand to level off. Flaps 1. Flaps up.
All right, now it should. You know what? Here's where you gotta. Is it? Oh. Sorry, folks, I keep sometimes thinking I'm 727 and I'm not. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and kill these wipers.
10,000.
Then I'm gonna get. And you're going, why haven't you run the after takeoff? Quite simply, folks, when you see it, it'll make perfect sense. Okay, so we're on INS, tracking down. Okay, cool. And I need to accelerate. All right, so first thing I always do, lower the nose to about 1,000 feet a minute. And then I swing this up to, I'll look at it again here in a second. Before we do it, 297. And I want to get this back up into this range, and then I'll kick it into IAS climb. Okay. And what it'll do is it'll hold 297 through the climb. And then once we get close to Mach 85, then I'll switch it into climb by Mach number. And then eventually just by, set the thing up for Mach. Like we did. All right, there we go. Now you can see the vertical speed is going to control by pitch now. All right, so now let's head over here and let's look at that checklist. Gear lever off, landing and logo lights off. Now you're not going to do that before 10,000 feet. Ignition check, seatbelts on, pack valves, check those real quick. Otherwise you get a hypoxic cabin, and fuel heat to auto. I like to look at it before I run it because I want to make sure we're in it. Okay, we're set for 40,000 feet, 6.5 on our cabin pressure, and we're looking good. Okay, and real quick before we run it, all right, we're good to go. Now let's run it.
After takeoff checklist.
Gear lever off. Landing and logo lights off. Ignition
Check.
seatbelts and no smoking sign.
Check.
Pack valves open. Fuel heat auto. After takeoff checklist completed.
There you go, folks. Next up's descent. Now there is a tab here for the AV tab. If you're not familiar, another free utility, folks. Comes with a nice little map to give you an idea where you are. So, I mean, really, and altogether, a phenomenal product here, folks. I, again, highly recommend it. But, really want you to make sure you understand you're doing the job of 3 people as one person. So that's how this plane, you gotta stay ahead of it enough that you can get the flight engineer set up, and then, get back here. Plus, if you got the INSs, you got to keep them up to date. They only get 9 fixes, folks. So, but overall, a great product. I really like it. Again, Hawker 125, thank you for the pushing to make me look into it, and then I eventually bought it. So. All right. So we are climbing out, folks. All right, now let's trying to think of anything that I had forgotten that I wanted to mention. Ashley 78X. It does have it, how you put it in the plane there, Ashley, is this. Over here, options. You have the ability to use SEVA, the LTN 92, that one I have it, and the FMC that comes with X-Plane. Now, a lot of people say, well, that plane never had that. The latter years of the 747-200s, some of the airlines did retrofit to use FMCs, more for the accuracy and all of that. So, not a lot of them had it. Most of them were SEVA, some LTNs, and there was another one. There was one version that you could put like 27 fixes in at once, which on a flight like this could get you to Nice. On a flight across the pond, that could help a lot. But the SEVA, it's 9 fixes, folks. Before you get to that 9th one, you better be already have already loaded up the others. So it'll just keep going right on them. This was a working plane. Worked your butt off to keep it on. Now granted, when you get overseas, when you get over the Atlantic or the Pacific, it's 45 minutes, folks, ballpark, in between fixes. Plenty of time to catch it up. Get ready to update your IRSs on the fly, as I call it, the INS updater down here, by getting it set up on VORs. So as soon as they come in, it starts updating, realigning the INS so it gets more accurate. Because over time, it starts degrading. And then as soon as you get it airborne, you can keep it right on track with your VOR cross fixing. Believe me, they're doing it before they go out to sea, and at 160, 80 miles coming into land, they're updating so they come in more precise and right on track. So really, folks, a really good aircraft. I have a couple little complaints. That takeoff performance, unless you max this thing out with fuel and payload, just does not seem to eat up the runway. I remembered watching at my airport when we saw them. And we did see them there for a while. Northwest Airlines brought them in. I know, Northwest isn't around anymore. Atlas, what's the other one? But for the most part, we saw Dash 400s with the cargo. But Northwest was the biggie that would bring them in for the passengers. And they were all charter flights, folks. All right, so we're out over the English Channel now, folks. Climbing out. Let's go ahead, put this back on the aft tab. And we'll go out one more just to give you an idea. So we took off from here. We're heading down. Well, if we were to scale it, well, you can't even get my mouse on it. So we got a ways to go. We are on POSCON. For me, it is a bit of a frame rate hit. That's my other problem. That's me. I don't think it's the plane itself. So, I mean, there's just so much to it. It wouldn't surprise me. But I think it's my system. It's 3 years old now. So, 3 to 4 years old. So you get the picture. All right, so let's, and if this was that other sim, folks, 3 to 4 year old sims still have hard times with the latest and greatest simulators out there. Unless you happen to operate a Cray computer. If you don't know what a Cray is, look up supercomputers. And I don't even know if that would run it. Anyway, all right, we're through 32,000 feet, folks. We're coming up on our Mach here. And what I'm going to do is go ahead up here in the toolbar. You can click here, and I'm going to bring the EPR unit back up. And when we hit 8.5, first thing I want to do is get it into a Mach climb. So what that means is whatever it reads in the dial, now the pitch, instead of where the needle is, will be by what the Mach number is in this window. Very close. All right, so we've clicked it. Now I'm going to let it go here for till we get into cruise, and then I'm going to switch it into Mach speed hold for the auto throttle, and into cruise as well. And should be doing pretty good. Currently looking at about 56 minutes down to Nice. I hope y'all are enjoying. And again, Billadu, I hope I'm saying that right, 33. Thanks again for the follow. We sure appreciate you coming on board. Look forward to seeing you. Our next flight right now, folks, is scheduled Thursday, or is it Friday? Bear with me here. I got stuff covering up what I'm looking for. Friday. And depending on how things work out this week, we may have an amendment to what's scheduled. If you look in the about below here on Twitch, might change. We'll see though. But for now, stick with that. It's kind of fun to say. Hang on, let me get it pulled back up. From Liberia to Miami. Let's be very specific here. Liberia, Costa Rica. Not Liberia over in Africa, which when this got requested to me on Discord with the airline, I mean, not with the airline, with the Discord channel, sorry. I had to do a double take on it. Like, want me to fly from Liberia? A church that we went to several years ago in Belleville actually went to Liberia mission trip and in Africa. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's gonna be a haul. He meant Costa Rica. I finally got it to where I saw MRLB. I was just like, whew, that's a haul, folks, from Africa to Miami. But not from there. It's about a 3.5 hour, 4 hour trip. So ought to be a fun Friday or Thursday. Day did I say? Friday. So, all right, folks, we are about 1,000 feet away from top of climb. Again, thanks for being a part of Flying with Mike. Again, new to the channel, hey, smash that follow button like Billadu did an hour or so ago. Love to have you part of the growing team here. Love your flight suggestions. It challenges me, and you can't imagine how to get a plane. I try not to jump seat, folks. That's my goal. And this one was a challenge. So I like it. Thank you so much for the challenge. All right, we are reaching up 400 feet away, so bear with me here. I'm going to go ahead. Are we at 8.5? Okay. And Mach, cruise. And in just a second, we'll put it in altitude hold. Oh, hang on a second. I'll tell you what I got a good laugh at here in a second. My laptop here is set to where it's not logged into Twitch, so I'm seeing the commercial breaks. The commercial break I just had was funny story real quick, and then I'll bust away here for a second. When I drove the truck, I really thought my dispatcher was trying to pull a fast one on me. I unloaded up somewhere in Chicago, and he told me, okay, head over to, and I forget the name of the town, for a load of Wonka candy. Now, mind you, I'm not a big candy eater, so that helped to play into this. I'm thinking, that's a movie. there is no such thing as Wonka candy in my mind. I'm like, they're really pulling a fast one on. Well, lo and behold, there is an actual Wonka candy factory, and probably many of them. And when I backed into the building to the dock, I really thought when I walked in I was going to see the Loompa Loompas from Willy Wonka. Um, and I was disappointed there were none. But yeah, I did not know there was such a thing as Wonka candy. I knew all about Hershey, but I did not know about Wonka. So that was quite funny to me. To you all, you're like, boy, you're kind of silly there. But anyway, I just happened to see a commercial for them, folks. It was just kind of a little bit of a flashback for me. So, folks, I am going to take a quick break here, use the restroom, grab a cup of coffee. We're going to get back here, get ready for the arrival into Nice. I haven't really done a lot of study on it, so we'll kind of see what we're in for. Doesn't look too complicated, so we'll be right back. Enjoy the flight, folks. Give me about 5 minutes. All right, folks, we're back with you, and we are looking at about 40 minutes out of Nice. So let's get in here, take a look at the arrival, get the ascent process set up, and make sure we're on track here. So trying to figure out what I was trying to do. There we go. All right. Let me see here real quick how things are set up. That's what I thought. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this arrival, shall we? All right, there's the charts program again. See, now don't have to go anywhere to find this chart. It's right here. I just got to basically go into the database. All right, real quick before we get too far into this, let's pull up Nice. Current as of 12 minutes ago. Isn't that nice? It even tells you this. 320 at 5, variable winds, 9,000 feet, light rain, overcast 5,100 feet. So the ceiling has been coming down. All right. 10 degrees. And here's one factor that could play against us with our visibility. Our temperature to dew point ratio difference is within the 3 degrees. If you get them within 3 degrees, folks, fog is possible. On our side is this 5-knot wind. If that subsides, we could begin to see fog brewing here. Could. The clouds could be what offset that, but you never know. All right, let me clear that up. All right, so here's what we're going to be doing. I need one thing here. Hang on. Yeah, we've got rain down here. Okay. Just looking at the POSCON map chart. So there is rain. In brief. So I'm coming into NISAR. Okay. Okay, so we need to be below 34,000 feet. Not going to be hard. Simple math there, folks, tells us we need so 32 from, we're at 39, 7 times 3 is 21. So about 30 miles from NISAR we'll begin our descent. Okay, now we could cheat and look here, top of descent 251 miles. Not 100% sure where that would be on the chart, but looking above it here, I'm going to go with that, I think. See how it's 390, so you're looking at a good 140 to 150 miles. I'm good with that at about a 2,000 to 2,300 foot per minute descent. Oh, gotta have my coffee, folks. Sorry. All right, so from NISAR, we are going to fly the 7 Tango, and we're flying it to 4 left. All right. Just get some things. So, RNAV approach. 7 Tango. 7 Tango. This one. Okay. So from NISAR, we're going to head to Tupacs. Here, let's just kind of push. There's NISAR to Tupacs to Ampho. And then are we done? Yep, we're done. Okay, so we got to Tupacs to Ampho to Typics to Mus, which is an NDB as our initial fix. All right, so let me clear this off. Lock us in, but I'm going to do it this way. We need to get our approach. Now, the easiest way in this program is just down here. First off, make sure 4 left is what you want. Just going to look at the airport real quick. Yeah, I like 4 left. I think we're going to be parking over here. So we'll come off right about here, taxi back and park. So 4 left is good. Okay. So we'll leave it at 4 left. Oh, we do have a... let's just see what they're doing. Arrivals, 4 lefts, departing, 4 right. Okay, cool. Select. So now I have the option of a Yankee and a Zulu for RNAV. I mean for ILS. Alpha Yankee Zulu for RNAV. Well, we're going to go with the Yankee ILS, I think. But you can pull charts up, take a look. See, from MUS, we come down here. What is this fix? Really can't tell you if that's this. 12.5 is this, and that is, looks like about 12-mile final, 17 plus. So we're going to be approximately 23 miles out. I like this one. So we'll just go with the Yankees. So click here real quick. LFM. We're on. Double checking. 4 left Yankee. ILS 4 left Yankee. Click. It's must 1, must 2. Let's go for it. Could have just cut us off big time. Let's find out. Whoa. Did you see what it did, folks? I know what I did wrong. All right. So, okay. Got to come in here and reselect. NISAR 7T. There we go. Now we got it. +4. I think we got it. All right, well, we'll go with whatever this is. May not follow the chart 100%. I noticed a little differences from the selects. So I'll show you what I mean. Oh, here we go. So here's the Zulu. Here's the, again, it's not saying which one. But we'll go with so there we see. So that's how it's going to look. So off AMPU Typix Music will vector to here and then come on in. Okay. It's nice that it shows that. It just doesn't on the chart. All right, so altitudes, again, below 34,000, 32 to 20 at Tupix, below 16 at Amphu, below 12,000, and 250 above 8. So I'm going to probably be at 10,000 is my goal here. I'm sorry, below 16 at Amphu. So, and then at or above 8,000, we'll be at 8,000 to make our approach. Okay. And then we'll come in, catch it, and bring the localizer in. For the approach, you can see our ATIS frequencies and the rest. Briefing strip wise, we'll need to set 109.95. Approach course is 42 degrees. At 12.5 from our localizer, NI, I was trying to figure out what's NI. Okay, it's the localizer. Okay. We need to be at 4,000 feet, which is 3,989 feet above the ground on the glide slope. We'll get the minimums here in a second. Here's our missed approach. Looks like we go out to sea, out into the mid, and hold at Neris, which, by the way, is the initial for the arc in. All right, and ATC transition level altitude is 5,000. However, if we read our information here, it is 7,000. Okay, again, moves to the initial fix, then we'll just proceed in. Okay. Okay, 4,000 feet at 12.5, and then this gives you a ballpark of what you should be coming in. All right, so we're going to come in probably right about 140, so about a 740 to 800 foot a minute descent. Doesn't give us a time. And then we're going to have reels and pappies, no approach lights, folks. So I'm expecting our visibility minimums to be a little high. We're Class D, so that means 321 foot MSL or 310 feet. I'm setting that right now. We'll set that here in a second so you can see it. And we need a minimum RVR of 1,400 meters, which we have. All right, so that takes care of the charts. Got 171 miles to go. All right. Now, what I'm going to do here, folks, I'm going to shrink charts up. Oh, not that way. Sorry, folks. Into a position where you can still kind of see where we are, but yet hopefully it's out of the way enough for you to see what's going on. Always yell in the chat room. Hopefully I catch it and I can remove it. Okay, the reason I'm holding this, here's the challenge at Nice. Look at these runways, 8,600 feet, plenty to land on, dicey to take off on, especially since primarily this would have been in a 7-4 flown JFK to Nice, Nice to JFK. So 9,700 feet, yeah, we're going to be enjoying that takeoff. All right, let's go back to the home page. Performance calculations. Landing. Load sheet. We're going to land with flaps 30. Runway is 8,600 feet, so let's set that up. Oh, sorry about that, folks. We're going to go with a wet runway. Let's get our temperatures in here. As of 25 minutes ago, they're showing 10 degrees. barometric pressure. Now, I know you guys in Europe work off of millibars or HEPA. We use inches of mercury, and that's 2965. And our winds, 320 at 5. All right, we're iffy, folks. It would be best to go to this runway. We're going to use it. Let's go damp. So we're going to use up good majority, if not all of it. All right, that's cool. And it's a good chance of a go around, folks. We've had troubles. I'm going to try something on approach and hope it doesn't backfire on me like it did once. And we'll set our speed bugs. So VREF is 130. We're approaching at 140. So that meant we'll be using the, hang on a second. Roughly 743 feet a minute to 800. Okay. I'm going to leave it at that level. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it for now. But anyway, there's our performance. Now, if we go wet, we're going to eat up a lot of this 8,600 foot runway. That 97 would be what we'd want. So, all right. So there you have it, folks. We are set up for landing. Speed bug set. Let's come up here to our checklist. We never turned the seatbelt sign off. Sorry, folks. Any ice will stay on. Exterior lights, auto brakes. Oh, we'll set those. How about we set it to medium? There, they can get out of their chairs for about 5 minutes. All right. So we are on our way, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this little short hop with the 4-7. It's always fun to get the queen out of the corral and out in the air. And we're using a little different one than normal. This is the Clipper America. Now for the flight, technically I should have been in Gem of the Ocean, but I needed a change. So we're flying this one instead. Aircraft's doing really well. All right, folks, so I am going to sit on the side here for about 5-10 minutes, and we'll begin our descent here shortly. Any questions, comments, chat amongst yourself? Chat room's been open the whole time. Folks, if you are looking for a virtual airline, you want to join a group of like-minded people that love to fly and, like to have their hours count for a little bit. Hey, Pan Am Virtual's hiring pilots. Granted, our virtual pay is virtually nothing, but it's fun. You fly the old Pan Am routes, and then you can kind of get a sense of what happened to Pan Am. Yeah, sad story. It really is. One of the best airlines probably out there next to TWA. Sorry, I am biased to TWA. But folks, it's great. I love flying these flights. They do have a lot of European flights if you like the 737-200. Oh, let me tell you the routes available to you. Europe is their domain, where the 727's domain is the US. So, if you're looking for a place to come aboard, to be a part of a group, don't look any further. Just type !PAA Victor and check them out. Great software. This ACAR system's pretty cool. I happen to know the guy running the airline, and who was gracious enough to say, "Hey, how would that guy, that loose nut behind the wheel of Flying with Mike, like to run the Pan Am operations?" And I said, "Sure, that's right, me." So, folks, come aboard Pan Am. We'd love to have you doing some flying. Oddly enough, boy, would there be some people rolling over their graves with my next comment. Oddly enough, we actually have a TWA division in the same house, like I said at the beginning. Wouldn't that have been interesting for those of you around when Pan Am went under and seeing the constant battles between TWA and Pan Am in routes in the US and abroad? Put down the hatchets, not in their backs, but just set them down, forgive each other, fight over the name, that's fine. Trans world, I mean, I don't know what you'd come up with. Um, but anyway, come together. What an airline that could have become, and both of them might still be here had they done that. They both were looking for help. Pan Am with domestic routes, TWA not so much international, but they just needed something. And because they were always having troubles. And the two together would have been an amazing combination. And they are here at Pan Am Virtual. So check them out there, folks. crew.paavirtual.com. We're hiring. We're looking for pilots. Hey, I don't care if you can fly or not. We'll help you out, or I will at least. We'll get you going. We don't have very many rules, but you can sure check them out. Hey, and by the way, if I didn't mention it, if you're into military combat flying, well, I know someone who just happens to have a squadron here over on the DCS side of the house. Check them out, folks. Come on over, Pan Am Virtual. It's at crew.paavirtual.com. Check us out. Or just click the link there in the comments. Yeah, I really think you all would enjoy Pan Am. I'm not saying that because, like I said, I know the guy that's kind of running the Pan Am side of the house. But no, I'm being serious here, folks. I really do think you'd like it. So if you're looking for a VA to join, doesn't overbear you with rules. There are some that, oh my gosh. If you don't touch your nose right and put your toes on the ground in a specific direction, your PIREP gets denied. They're that strict. But some people like that. I apply for a couple like that, and it can be a nice, interesting challenge. We try to be a little laid back, but yet still keep it in the Pan Am flavor. We're not looking for you to bust our aircraft into the runway at 10,000 feet a minute, but believe it or not, you can learn over time how to get those aircraft to grease. So, every single time. So check us out, folks, crew.paavirtual.com. crew.paavirtual.com. Love to see you at the airline. Again, it's always fun when you look over at your laptop and trying to figure out, why is there so much pink on it? And it's not about breast cancer. I tell you, some of these commercials that are out there. And folks, if the ads I put on 1 minute of commercials every 20 minutes, I had to think the ratio out. It's been a while since I've had to say that. So for every 20 minutes, you'll get a minute of commercials. kind of like when you watch TV, you know, about every 20 minutes, you get about a minute or two of commercials. I keep it down to a minimum, 1 minute. Helps Twitch out, helps the stream out. So if that's too much for you, hey, you know, I'd love, you know, it's your call. I'm not going to sit here and say, you must do this. No, it's your call. If you want to be ad free, click the subscribe button. $5 a month keeps you out of the ads, and we're trying to get more and more perks for our subscribers. So, all right, so enough of that. Let's get ready to bring this thing in. Oh, and by the way, if you're new to the channel and you just want to know when we're live again, click the follow button. It's free. Just costs you an email every time we go live. You'll get an email from us. All right, we're 55 miles out, so we're in altitude hold. Let's say we bring it down to, what did I say? I want to come down to 10,000. Yeah. All right, we're going to let it drift in a little more. We're 50 miles from top of descent. And okay, we just got the latest and greatest. We got a new weather strip, winds 350 at 5. Cool. Still 10 degrees, 9 degrees separate. So still the same separation temperature, overcast at 5,000. So light rain. So we're still looking good. We're still perfectly legal for this landing. So we're going to continue 43 miles out. And in a few minutes, I'll be bringing up the, oh, excuse me, folks, did not mean to yawn in your ears there. I'll be bringing the charts program up in the corner. And if you like it, great. If you don't, tell me. I'll take it down. It won't break my heart, folks. And we won't be running. Now, if you looked over this, we won't be running this checklist till at least we get into about the, well, we're going to do it around 10,000 feet, folks, because exterior lights don't start coming on until 10,000 feet. So, all right, so let's see how we're doing here. Can't read it, of course. 32. And descent is not far away, folks. So again, hope you've enjoyed the flight. Like I said, it was about a 500-mile run. Exact, if you're one of those that need it in the exact, about 627 miles. All right, and I am going to go ahead and initiate our descent. Now, the nice thing about this, again, one other unfortunate, dig into the 727 that's available. I love this dial. I know where 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 feet a minute is, so I know how to set my dial. It's very difficult in the 7.2, and that's minor complaint, but that and not knowing what my ailerons are doing when I do my flight control check, makes it hard. It's very difficult to see these things from the cockpit. And so, yeah. All right, so the first goal is get below 34,000 feet. At NISAR. So as long as we're below 34,000 feet, we've achieved our first goal. And since we're going to start hitting clouds with moisture, turn that on. I think I'm going to steepen this up. Okay, we're below 34,000, so that's good. The next challenge is stay above 20,000 by Tupacs. Okay, so I'm going to come out of get the speed brake in here and start slowing us back down. Actually, I'm going to bring it up about 300. All right. We are looking good, folks. Bear with me, folks. I'm setting some things up. Okay. And 109.95. Okay, we're set. All right, we're set in here, so crossing NISAR. And I just realized I've been on the wrong frequency this whole time. Let me get up here and find out what I need to be on for this approach. Let's just do this. All right. We're set up for the approach, folks. All right, that'll be a little more out of the way. So again, I hope y'all are having a great week. It's Tuesday, I know. That's why I say I hope it's going well for you. Still got a little bit to go. Your weekend was great behind you, and the one coming up will be a good weekend. So, all right, now we got to start seeing where we are. They have to pull up here to 20. 20,000.
Level off.
Now, I'm going to head over here to the pressurization panel. And get this set up. Again, altimeter. All right, I think we're set. All pressures are set, and I'm going to go ahead and start releasing my reserve tanks. And let's turn the seatbelt sign back on. At Tupacs, we'll begin our descent to 10,000. Okay, down to 10. All right, I'm going to go ahead and steepen this. Oh, man. Tell you, folks, that 24-hour shift yesterday is starting to catch up to me now. All right, 428 for MUS. Okay. Let's go ahead and get that dialed in. Up here comes the hyperspace effect. I hope they work on this. All right, we're approaching 11,000, so let's get ready to level off. AMFO is below 12,000, and then we'll slow to 250. And y'all don't mind, I am gonna set transition level 1004. All right, let it rebound here. Okay, it's time to slow to 250. Or to a maximum. Ain't at 10,000. That makes things really easy. Okay, lights on. Okay, we're just about there. What do we need to do? Okay. Cabin altitude, set fuel, shoulder. Okay, make sure the E now is going. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and run it. We'll do what we can.
Approach checklist, please.
Seatbelts and shoulder harness.
Check.
Seatbelts and no smoking signs.
On.
Anti-ice.
On.
Exterior lights.
Check.
Outer brakes.
Medium.
Radio INS switches.
Radio.
Flight director computer selectors.
Check.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Spoilers.
Damn. Armed.
Altimeters.
1004. Set and cross-check.
Landing data, EPR and airspeed bugs.
Set and cross-check.
Seatbelts and shoulder harness. Check. Fuel panel. Check. Fuel heat. Off. EPR computer. Go around. Cabin altitude. Check. Circuit breakers. Check. Approach checklist completed.
Okay, next one will be as we turn down to begin the run for final approach. Sorry folks, I'm trying to keep the Star Wars effects to a minimum on people. Okay, now we're going to drop on down to 8,000. Slow, 220. All right. One last look over here. Again, 132 is our VREF, 142 will be speed, and take it from there. Speed bugs are set. Okay, 8,000. And we want to come down to 4,000 by 12.5. That is MUS, by the way, folks.
Localizer alive.
All right, here we go, folks. Yes, I do not have any flaps out yet. Okay, here comes the localizer. Glide slope, got a ways to go on that. 24 miles out, folks. All right, so here we go, folks. Lining up.
1,000 to level off.
All right. Part of me is wanting to put this thing in auto land. Let's see. 6 minutes ago, we're 20. Let me check something here in a minute. Light rain, 5,000 feet. Limited visibility, so we should still be okay. Not updated 17 minutes ago. Okay. Go. We're just waiting on the glide slope, and then we'll actually at CF0LY right here, folks. I'm going to slow us to 180. Two notch of flaps.
Flaps 5.
At 9.3, we'll put the gear out. And we should actually be out of the clouds, and we're not. That's why I'm a little nervous. I'm going to go ahead just in case.
Flaps 10.
Got a safety, put her in auto lane. I am not seeing outside these clouds. Okay, we are set up, go around, auto land, 4242, we are set up to auto land. We are now 12.5 out at 4,000 feet on glide slope. Continue. Okay, we're starting to come out. Base of the clouds, 3,400 feet. No runway in sight.
Gear down.
You're down.
Flaps 20. Gears down. Green light.
Got the green. All right, let's run it.
Flaps 25. Flaps 30. Landing checklist.
Gear.
Down and check.
Down and check. Flaps.
Flaps 30.
Flaps 30. Ignition.
Flight start.
Anti-skid.
Check.
Is that the med?
Altimeters. 1004. Set and cross-check. Landing checklist completed.
Okay, we're not taking over till C.
Auto land status arm. $1,000.
Sure, I got the run.
$500. Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Landing.
Sync rate.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Dang it, going around again.
Positive rate. Gear up. Flaps 5. Gears up.
All right, folks. Bear with me 1 second.
Flaps 1.
I have reason to understand why it will.
Flaps 10. Gear down. Gears down, green light. Flaps 20. Localizer alive. Flaps 30.
All right, folks, let's try this again. I had to kill the weather so I could stay in the visual pattern. Okay, we'll be landing.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Sink rate. Sink rate. Sink rate. Pull up.
50,
Pull up.
40, 30, 20, 10. Check reverse.
Now it worked. See, I just don't get what happened.
Auto brake off. 60 knots. Out, off, reverse.
It's every landing, folks, with this plane. I have to go around. All right, well, welcome to Nice, folks, and we'll
Flaps up.
now let's head over to the terminal. Okay, just cleaning up. All right, let's see what all we needed to. I know there's a couple. Looks like this. It's off. Let's go. Body gear, steering. Stabilizer trim. All right, let's run it. Start looking for a gate.
After landing checklist.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Body gear steering.
Arm.
Outer brakes.
Hold on. Off.
Ignition.
Off.
Engine and wing anti-ice.
Hold on. Off.
Radar and transponder.
Stand by.
Flaps. Pressurization mode selector. Manual. Aft cargo heat. Off. APU. Check. Checklist completed.
And here's the other one I don't like. The parking brakes aren't
Cockpit to ground. With the
calling
chocks
out.
on.
So what you have to do is set the chocks to get it to stop. And then
Thruster on.
you will be able to stop your ACARS programs with your, for me at least. I don't know if anyone else has had this problem. All right, so we're in the blocks. Set. Okay, let's already know the first one.
All right, secure cockpit checklist. Brakes.
Oh wait,
Hold on. Beacon lights. Off. INS. Align. Probe and window heat. Off.
Back valves. Check. Fuel boost pumps. This. Off. Reserve tank valves. Closed. Hydraulic panel. This. Check. Oxygen. Check. Flight recorder. Let's see. Off.
Emergency lights. Off. Radar. Hold on. Off.
INS. This. Off. Radio switches. This.
Checklist completed.
all right. Sorry about that, folks. A lot of little stuff to do there. Let me get the jet bridge in. Oh, not move. Oh, not gonna move. Okay, no biggie. All right. So, folks, we've arrived. Hope you enjoyed that flight. Little challenges again at the end, as always with this plane. We always end up having to do a go, which meant I had to change the weather so we could stay in a nice visual pattern to bring it back again. I didn't want to get back on the autopilot. So I don't get what's going on. I am manual when I come in, but yet it just doesn't want to sync and set things up for reverse thrust. just mind-boggling. All right, let me just get the flight there. All right, let me pull up my ACARS program and the flight. All right, and it was accepted. We had a 350-foot-minute arrival the second time, I guess, around. I don't know which one it took. We'll find out here with Sim Toolkit in a moment. POSCON does not record landings, so who knows? Let's do this. Let's go ahead, disconnect. It says cautiously. Try it one more time. There we go. What? Launcher's not running. It's right there. I don't get it. All right. All right. So, well, heck, that's kind of funny too. One of my screens was showing us not even streaming. Two of them. The heck? You gotta love Twitch. It's twitching. All right, folks. So we're here. Let's bring up Sim Toolkit. I'm going to get rid of the overhead. And then the program itself to bear. All right, so we had two landings. Well, it got away from me. Into 300. So right now, I'm not going to be too concerned. Complete the flight. And we're going to be going with the 332, right? I'll be honest, that's a pretty good pattern. All right. Real quick, here's what it looked like from start to finish. Here's the mini details. 2-hour flight, 562 miles. We burned 20,000 kilos of fuel. We had, remember, 68, so plenty of fuel to make it to Marseille and do the same thing. 1.1 Gs, I'm not complaining there, 332 at 149. Folks, all of that is really good numbers. I know we should have been closer into the 130s. But hey, now let's take a look at the big one. All right. I don't know which one this is, first or second, I don't know. But we landed well short of our aiming point. But in our case, well, you know, let's be honest, we're on a wet runway. We probably should have been on the bigger runway. Okay. Pilot in command made a bad call there. But anyway, overall, we did good here, folks. Off by about 3 degrees. That's probably adjusting for the wind and getting us on course. 149, a little fast, but I mean, we touched down nicely, 1.1 Gs. I mean, you don't get much better than that. So other than put it on the numbers right here. What this is, folks, is a visual aiming point for you. So when you're a VFR pilot or you're a commercial pilot and you're coming in visually, aim for here. Now, the cool thing is your PAPIs, your ILS glide slopes all aim to put you down on the ground there or very close to it, because that's the point where you'll still have plenty of runway. It doesn't matter what plane. get stopped. So overall, like I said, a good landing. So cool. All right, so let's take a look outside here. Kind of curious where they were supposed to park out there in the open spots. Oh well, doesn't matter. Why the jetway's not working? Maybe they don't. Well, let's do this, folks. We're gonna give it that try.
Cockpit to ground. Remove the chocks. Chocks removed.
Nope, not gonna work. All right, we were trying for the replay and not gonna. When it comes into center like that, not happening. All right, folks. Well, I am gonna put. Let's do this. Let me put that up there so y'all can see today's flight was from Heathrow to. Hang on a second. Let me just that. And just in case. All right, mute that. All right, so we got it taken out. Again, Heathrow to Nice, a great run. Little bit of, again, the same thing every flight. I come in, it just doesn't settle enough to get spoilers to deploy and reversers. For some reason, I can't, just mind-boggling. So I don't know what's causing that. But anyway, this was a fun flight. Great time had here. I hope you all enjoyed. Next stream is scheduled for Friday, and it will be the Zibo 737. Now, you can look at the schedule down below in the About section, showing MRLB, which is Liberia, Costa Rica, to Miami. But we'll see what turns out here. But again, yep, technical reasons. The replay just doesn't want to play on this. Tried this. Okay, now it's gonna crash. Sorry, little distracted there, folks, trying to make it do whatever it's gonna do. All right, folks. So for now, I'm gonna leave you with this lovely song. It was a pleasure flying for you today. A pleasure streaming, and I look forward to our Friday flight. Hope you all have a great week. God bless you all. We'll see you Friday.
Chasing stars.